What is going on? What is going on? It's episode 2 of the Red Line Briefing. I am Chris Waters, joined by my good friend Brian Butler. We are also running live streams going just about everywhere. So join in, leave us a comment, leave us a like, leave us a subscribe. So we'll get right into it. We've got a long list and a lot of stuff to go over today. Brian, are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. So quick run off of the list today. Some stuff we're going to cover. One, I'm sure you've heard by now, but Trump was leaving the G7 summit early. He had matters to attend to.
Absolutely.
Trump's Iran deal. The announcement was made, of course. We've seen that. We've seen JD on his book tour and setting some folks straight.
Oh, whoopee.
Whoopee!
Whoopee.
Oh, man. I saw him on Gutfeld. And, I mean, amongst many others, they were talking about, what Joy Behar was telling him after or it was during a commercial break, I believe. He's just like, we like you for a Republican. Yeah,
Mm.
that was
Good
great.
Lord.
We'll talk a little bit about that. Also, talk a little bit about this month, Pride Month, MLB, corporate censorship. A lot of stuff to cover there. There's some sticky subjects that are being talked about there. So we'll do a little dive into that and cover it. Another thing I found crazy, but I think for the last decade or so, there's been one fast food chain that has been number one in customer service. You know which one I'm talking about, right?
The Lord's chicken.
That's right, indeed. It's the Lord's Chicken, Chick-fil-A. Well, look out, Chick-fil-A, because there is a new number one, and we're going to talk about the shifting loyalties there. That's crazy. So stay tuned. Tell you who's number one, who just barely edged out Chick-fil-A, like to the point to
Barely.
where I hear rumors they may actually open up on Sundays. Just to
Man, that would be something. Can you imagine?
that would be blasphemy, is what that would be.
12-piece nugget on Sunday. My God.
Yeah. Oh man. Also, Newsom's wife over in California and the controversy explained over her dealings,
Little
but
Gavin Newsom.
it's typical California for you though. Elon Musk's next big move. There's a lot to talk about with the world's first trillionaire and his next big move. Really interesting. There's somebody that we know, especially here. They're near and dear in Florida, but it's the nation's number one law firm. You care to guess who that may be?
Let's see. In Florida? Or you said the
Oh,
nation's number one law firm?
nationwide now. Yeah.
When I was living in Alabama, we had that guy's billboard everywhere. I can't remember. I cannot for the love of me remember his name because it was everywhere, dude, and I mean everywhere. As soon as you say it, I'm gonna know it. I've got the picture in my mind. Hit me with it.
Yep.
Is it Alexander Shinora? Is it that
No,
guy? Who is
that's
it?
not it. This guy, their firm, they spend anywhere between 350 and a $500 million in advertising per year nationwide. If that gives you a clue to who it is, but he has a really interesting take on Elon that I wanted to talk about,
Oh
and we'll get to
boy.
that as well.
Okay.
Next, the UFC fallout and the FBI foiled attack attempt. You know, I'm sure
Yeah.
you've been keeping up with this one.
Yeah, some crazy stuff came out of that for sure. We'll definitely get into that. I'm a little disappointed in some stuff that happened with that actually, specifically with our good buddy, the FBI director, Mr. Cash Patel there, but we'll get into all that.
Yep, for sure. We'll talk a little bit about the new Air Force One. Man, they dropped pictures and a little bit of video of that. What are your thoughts on that, real quick?
Man, it's beautiful, and we'll be clear. It's not the new Air Force One. It is a bridge. It is a plane that's going to serve as a bridge between the plane that we just got done using and the next generation, which we are behind schedule on, thanks to the last person that was in the White House. But yeah, we'll cover that.
Awesome, awesome. And another thing we'll take a look at, and this is a very interesting one, and I, for one, know folks that are caught up in this, but marijuana cards and concealed carrying cards. Can you do both? Is it legal? What's the gray area? I know there's lots to talk
Mm,
about in the controversy
absolutely.
that
Can
entails.
you have your pot sleep gummies and still own a firearm? According to the Supreme Court, you might be able to now.
That's awesome. That's great to hear. And one thing that I did want to talk about, and it's some of the latest news, but Tulsi Gabbard stepping down, final day. We're going to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
You heard about what she did today, right? And the bombshells that
Oh,
she's dropping.
which part? She's done several in the past few days, but go
I
ahead.
can't hear you.
She's done several in the past couple of days. Which one are you talking about?
Well, let's do a little share right
Before
here.
the co
I mean, think about it, right? You've got you've got someone here that now has the power of the pen protecting them.
Yep.
Supposedly, it was not auto signed, and I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Man, I think that we were lied to about a whole bunch of stuff, and I think that the truth is just it's just starting to come out. It's going to keep coming out, but we're just I think we're just at the beginning of finding out what really has happened and is happening.
I don't know. I no, I agree. I agree. This is just the tip of the iceberg. But I mean, looking back at it, man, did you see how thick the binder was?
Oh yeah.
That was 2 3 inch binders,
Oh yeah,
man.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, definitely. It was definitely a good 6 inches worth of documents.
I don't know, man. I mean, there's a possibility, depending on which there potentially which way this could go. We could have an unprecedented turnover of a get out of jail free card by the Supreme Court. I mean, you know, there could be a number of things that could happen with this. Of course, do I think somebody's gonna or anyone's gonna go to jail over this? I just don't know, man. No, you know.
Yeah. I'd say there's
You
about a 7% chance of that happening, and that's a very, very, very weak 7%.
No, I get it. I mean, it's it's just now at the top. So yeah, I'm I'm excited to see what's going to come out of this and what's going to come out of the binders. But I'm just hoping it's not another Pam Bondi. We have the binders. Of just information that was already public. I don't want that. But I don't know.
No,
We'll
nobody
see. I
wants that.
mean, what's the future for Tulsi too? I know she's getting out. Due to family health reasons. I believe her husband, right? So I get it.
Yeah.
But you think she's setting up for anything politically? In the future?
I wouldn't put it past her, honestly. Yeah, I mean, anything's possible. And they really, let's start for a second. They really tried to do her dirty last week. She wasn't
Yeah.
supposed to, be leaving until, at the end of the month. And last Tuesday, she got a phone call at her office from the guy who is, Bill Pult. I don't know how to spell his last name. It's Pulte. Anyway,
Uh,
Bill gave her a call last Tuesday and said, "Hey, you know, today's your last day." She's like, "Dude, do what?"
huh?
Yeah, which led to her calling the president, and the president saying, "Well, when do you want it to be your last day, Tulsi?" And I'm curious how that whole thing went down. Did Bill get a call from POTUS?
Honestly, I think it goes deeper, man. Like
Yeah,
maybe there's some red tape that she's, ethically just she's like, look, enough's enough. I don't want to do this. Or maybe it's I don't know. She's probably looking at VP, man. Like maybe she's
who
possible
knows?
VP candidate for JD. When they make the run. I mean, 2027 is just around the corner,
I could get behind that.
so I could too. No, I
Yeah.
really could. Um, but yeah, it's exciting. To see where that's going to go for sure moving forward. So yeah, going down the list, man, here on the show, let's talk about Trump bailing on the G7. Uh, Trump bailing on the G7, while Israel and Iran are heating up, is exactly what drives the global club nuts, and exactly why a lot of people go, "Yeah, that's my guy." These
Yeah.
summits are mostly grip and grins and word salad statements nobody remembers. A real crisis pops off in the Middle East, and instead of hanging around for another staged photo, Trump says, "Yeah, I got bigger things to deal with,"
Yep.
and
Gotta
he
go.
heads home, man. He's like, "Yep, that's the job," right?
Yep.
Meanwhile, the G7 crew is still arguing over balanced language that generally scalds both Israel and Iran like they're the same kind of actor. You know,
Yeah.
they want paragraphs. I don't, Trump wants leverage. His instinct's simple: Israel's the ally, Iran's the problem. Say it plainly and act like you mean it.
Yeah. Yeah. Then you've got the media, though.
They freak out, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Every time he snubbed allies, he broke protocol. Uh,
Ah,
they're
man, no,
mad. He skipped the closing performance. Review while potential regional wars on deck. You know, do you want your president in a breakfast session on wording or in the situation room making calls that actually matter?
fact.
I prefer him to be in the situation room.
One side's managing vibes, the other's making decisions. You know, you don't have to love his style to see the difference. The G7 can finish their statement. Trump's
Yeah,
already on the plane to deal
yeah,
with the actual
yeah.
crisis.
Meanwhile, he's 20,000 feet in the air.
No, I hear you, man. The G7, big waste of time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
What do you think of Trump's new Iran deal?
Listen, I've heard numerous people over the past few days. Of course, the Democrats and the liberals are all he let Iran win. He gave up the war. America lost the war. No, we didn't. What are you talking about? I No, dude. Trump rolling out a new Iran deal isn't reckless. It's him cleaning up a mess the foreign policy class swore they had solved. They gave Iran pallets of cash and a pathway to nukes, literally. Trump's trying to trade that in for hard caps, real inspections, and actual leverage, which we just got. They're
Uh,
begging it. They're like, "Hey, we're ready for you to come inspect our sites." I mean, yeah,
yeah, I mean, look, there's only two countries in the world that can even reach the dust, in the first place. That's us
yeah,
and China. I mean, literally, we're the only ones with the equipment that is even capable to get to this stuff, too. You know,
100%.
Well, Trump rolling out a new Iran deal isn't reckless. It's him cleaning up a mess for foreign policy, or for the foreign policy class swore they had solved. They
Yeah.
gave Iran pallets, right? You said.
Yeah, pallets of cash, which is basically a pathway to nukes. Yeah, same people who said the last deal was historic, watched Iran bankroll terror, threaten Israel, and still keep pushing its nuclear program anyway. Basically blatantly obvious. I don't think they were really even trying to hide it. Trump's deal says no more charity. You want sanction relief? Prove you're not building a bomb. Stop threatening your neighbors. Reopen critical shipping lanes. Accept tough verification of this stuff.
Mm-hmm. No, it's got to be done, plain and simple.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. No, elites loved the old deal because it sounded sophisticated. Trump's version is simple though: no nukes, no terror, or no
No
money.
money. Yeah.
And it's as simple as that. And the 300 billion that's promised is coming from the Gulf nations. That's what people have to understand too. We are not forking a dime out. If anything, we should be also, hit with reparations for what we had to go and spend and do to
Yeah,
keep
you're
the
not
shipping
wrong.
lane open for the rest of the world to use the oil that we don't get from there. You know, uh,
100%.
you know, uh, we are doing our part though to make sure that you know Israel
Yeah.
sees the light of day and isn't nuked to hell and back.
Yeah. But no, you hit the nail on the head. Trump's version is simple, and that's part of what I think a lot of mainstream liberals don't like about him is the simplicity. And it is. It's no nukes, no terror, or no money. It's super simple, but it gets stuff done. And for whatever reason, that's one of the things they don't like about him.
You
But
can't
he gets it
argue.
done.
You can't argue with his style, man. But at least everyone knows where the line is.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go to the next story. June is Men's Mental Health Month, Pride
Yeah.
Month, amongst other things. I'll tell you this. I like to say, welcome to Corporate Pride Month, where billion-dollar brands discover sexuality every June, slap a rainbow on capitalism, and then act shocked when half their customer base needs a safe space and a stiff drink.
Absolutely. Bud Light, I think Bud Light tried to go inclusive and accidentally speed ran how to nuke a legacy brand. Turns out their customers wanted light beer, not a gender study final exam at the checkout line. Like, who would have
Facts.
thought, right?
Yeah, Target rolled out pride displays like, here's a onesie, a dog bandana, and a culture war. Buy two, get offended for free.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Now they
Kohl's
went,
yeah, Kohl's joined in with Pride baby gear because nothing
Mhm.
says family shopping trip like grandma wandering past a rainbow onesie and rethinking her entire view of society while she's just trying to find a coupon. Like
No, and then
yeah,
there's
man.
Cracker Barrel, dude. The place you go when you want fried okra, a rocking chair, and absolutely no surprises. And the second they touched Pride, half their regulars were like, I came here for biscuits and a mild bigatory.
Yeah,
Yeah, not a disclosure on identity.
yeah, man. Yeah, we saw how well that worked when they tried to rebrand Cracker Barrel. Yeah, didn't work.
I don't know, man. Make fun all we want. It's just I want this is one time where true equality matters. I don't care who you praise, who look up to, what you do in your own home. Just don't
100%.
put it on me.
Yep.
Yeah,
Leave the kids alone.
and that's plain and simple.
Yeah,
Let them make a choice when they're old enough to. Like if I can't get tattoos until I'm 18. Plain and simple. But
absolutely.
dude, did you see the Giants, the 3 pitchers that were putting
Oh,
Bible verses
man,
on their hats? That was fantastic.
that was awesome.
No, what I thought was great was that Rob Schneider put out there on X that he would pay all the fines from MLB players who put Bible verses on their uniforms.
I love it.
And it was funny because the MLB comes back and we're like, "We're we're warning you guys that, you're not supposed to put, you know, any writing on official MLB whatever, whatever." And I'm like, "So what
Man,
you're saying is they can't write that in Genesis after the flood, God gave us the rainbow to remind us that he's never going to flood the world again?"
sounds like what I'm hearing here is that Major League Baseball is anti-Christian. That's the message that puts out to me. I mean, that's how I'm taking that.
Baseball's going the way of basketball if you think about it, as far as woke, mm, as far as I mean, look at their numbers, look at viewership numbers. For years they were like,
Way
"What are
down.
we doing?" We're playing these 3, 4 hour long games that are packed with 20 minutes of excitement, and it's just like, what do you do to keep the younger folks that are nowadays actually online scrolling and getting instant dopamine hits to the point to where a buddy of mine was with his now teenage daughter, and she was just flipping, 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 flipping there in the phone. He looked at her and was like, "Have you ever seen or heard the end of a song? Just have you ever sat and listened to the entirety of a song?"
Yeah, the whole
She
way
looks
through.
up and she's like,
She had to
"No,
think
I
about
don't
it.
think so."
Wow.
Yeah, I had to think about it, like, I don't know. I've got my mixed opinions on it, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Hey, so we're talking about it earlier. Chick-fil-A, God's chicken.
I mean,
Chick-fil-A is losing its best service crown to sub
Jersey
above.
Mike's.
That's it. Yep, a sub above, right? That's Jersey
I'm
Mike's. No, that's Jimmy John. No, sorry, that's my apologies, Jersey Mike's. Yeah. But, yeah, so Jersey Mike's, they are, they're doing fantastic, on their I forgot the official score. It was like 84 to 83. So they
Okay.
barely, barely, barely won. But yeah, so well done, Jersey Mike's. They just kept doing the basics. Good product, straightforward service, fewer lectures, no big moral branding, no culture war, press releases, just sandwiches, and thanks for coming in. you know?
Yeah, man. So what do you eat at Jersey Mike's? What's your item of choice on the menu?
I used to start with the club on a sub or sub club,
Okay.
yeah, club on a sub, but if I'm feeling like a warm, like a hot sub or something, I'll go with a, like, chicken bacon ranch, it's
Okay.
it's like a Philly just with chicken
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
bacon.
definitely a traditional Philly guy.
Well, if I'm
I don't
doing
know, man.
Philly, I
This is
gotta have the
hard.
onions, mushrooms, extra cheese.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's a hard one for me. Chick-fil-A versus Jersey Mike's. It's definitely 2 different it's 2 different kinds of food, and I guess it's just what you're in the mood for at the time, but
No,
I don't
very
know, man.
true.
I think I'm still going for the Lord's chicken.
Yeah. Yeah, my son definitely does. We have actually a Jersey Mike's and a Chick-fil-A across the street from each other where I live, so,
Nice.
it's flip a coin.
Nice. Nice, nice.
Oh, man. I tell you, I would love to see, and we probably, I doubt we will in our lifetimes, but we'll see a Chick-fil-A or a Jersey Mike's for sure on Mars at some point.
Oh, boy.
And to get it there, I'm sure Elon will make that
I
happen.
mean, you gotta eat, if we're gonna be there, there's gotta be food.
It's crazy. SpaceX, I think they were in the 190s.
Yeah.
Let's see where they're at. So,
Let's see.
uh,
Mm,
SpaceX, yeah, they're actually
185.
185. So they're down just a little bit today. But that's okay. You always
Actually,
buy the.
I don't think they were I'm not sure if they were open today. Today was a national holiday, so I don't know if they actually traded today.
No, good point. That's right.
Yeah.
Today is a national holiday. I keep forgetting it's a new national
Juneteenth.
holiday. Yeah, no, it's let's see. There's something about Elon. What's her name? Pocahontas.
Oh,
Elizabeth
yeah.
Warren. Everybody else, it's time to tax. The typical. I'm not going to go into the rant, but it's funny when you hear her. Oh my goodness, the first trillionaire. What's he going to do with all that money? Blah 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 blah. Well,
Whatever he wants, it's his money.
I mean, quite honestly, but if you think about it, this is a guy that gave someone stock in SpaceX just for $1 million, right? Now that guy is worth well over 100 billion due to his $1 million loan back in the day.
Absolutely.
You know, he had to leverage everything to make sure that Tesla stayed afloat. All of his earnings he made from PayPal. I mean, the guy is what Morgan and Morgan, John Morgan, right? Famous
Okay.
lawyer.
Yep.
He has a
Okay.
new, yep, he has a new book coming out called Life is Luck. And Mr. Morgan, he has this great section where he explains Elon Musk as a classic first principle thinker, right? And first principle thinker, that's actually he's borrowing the concept all the way back to Aristotle.
Okay.
Yeah. So Morgan's point is that most of us live under a set of assumptions where we never question, right? Things like rockets are just insanely expensive, like back case in point when Obama cut funding to NASA, where we were trying to get back to the moon and get to asteroids for
Yep.
mining, like, I mean, a potential to make you name it on factors of tens X what we would initially invest, in my opinion. And that's a whole nother, we can go down a space rabbit hole is that's one of my favorite hobbies.
Oh, yeah.
But back to Elon, he is one of those guys that all he wants to do is take the assumptions, deconstruct them down to their basic parts, right? And then asks, "Well, what if we built this from scratch a different way?"
Yeah.
That's how you get SpaceX saying, why are we throwing rockets into the ocean? What if we build our own, reuse them so the cost isn't 10x, it's X.
Yep.
Or Tesla saying, what if we solve batteries and charging instead of, treating them as deal breakers, right? Now, granted, we've had electric motor vehicles since the early 1900s, and they were pushed out by lobbyists and all of that. So that's a whole nother Also, a
Yeah,
whole other story about how government can get in the way of things, in certain cases, hundreds of years. Whole another episode we can go down there. But long story short, almost every big must play rockets, EVs, tunnels between cities, and even the idea of life on Mars, right? The Chick-fil-A on Mars. But it comes out of that first principle mindset, right? Like it takes what the smartest people on earth agree is impossible, tear down the belief system around it, and then rebuild it until it's possible. I mean, this is not a new concept, obviously. But from my point of view, that's exactly why, Musk deserves that money. I mean, he's not greedy. He's not keeping it for himself. He's literally reinvesting it into humankind. He just is the guy with the power of the pen, basically, on this.
absolutely. Yeah,
But anyway, that's my opinion that I share with John Morgan in this case. It's really interesting and it's a very neat concept, but he's absolutely right. There's a reason he is who he is and he's doing what he's doing.
absolutely, man. The guy's been through, let's, give it a rundown. The guy's born in South Africa.
Mhm.
He was bullied relentlessly as a kid. He immigrated to North America. He arrived here literally with a backpack and a dream. The guy built Zip2 with his brother. He sold it 4 years later for something like 300 million, I want to say.
Yep.
He took the profits from that, used it to co-found PayPal.
Mhm.
He he basically changed the way we did digital payments. He sold PayPal to eBay for
Insider.
$1.5 billion dollars, okay? Guy had just got here with a literally backpack in a dream, that was it. A few years later, $1.5 billion. Then he turns around, he bets everything on Tesla and SpaceX. He was made fun of for years for electrical cars. He got laughed at for reusable rockets. He almost went bankrupt in 2008, kept building anyway. He turned Tesla into the world's most valuable automaker,
Mhm.
made EVs mainstream, transformed the auto industry.
Yep.
He made reusable rockets a reality, reduced the cost of reaching space by almost 95%.
That's insane.
The guy sparked the modern commercial space. He started the modern commercial space race.
Mhm.
He's built SpaceLink. He has connected millions around the world to high-speed internet that wouldn't honestly, they wouldn't have it otherwise.
Mhm.
He's turned SpaceX into the most valuable private company in history. Guy bought Twitter for $44 billion, which still has me shaking my head. Myself and the rest of the world said he overpaid. He was called reckless, stupid, crazy. Advertisers fled. Media declared it dead, said it was going to be bankrupt. Critics called it the worst acquisition in tech history. He turns around, names it X, built it from scratch anyway, and he has turned it into one of the most influential platforms on the planet. You know, the guy turned around, he launched, XAI, accelerated the global AI race. He has sent astronauts to space. He is trying his damnedest to get humans to Mars. He's created millions of jobs in the process, created hundreds of billions in value, and he is the inspiration to an entire generation, of builders.
Nah, for sure, man. Like the list goes on and on, you know? I like
Absolutely.
though that I mean, he did what he never gave up. That bottom line, he never gave up. He failed repeatedly. He worked insane hours. He slept in his factories. He slept in his offices. He got bullied. He got laughed at. He got mocked. Consistently told it was impossible.
Yep.
Kept building. Made it possible. Today,
Yep.
richest person on earth. Yeah, well done. That's funny. I think that's about it for Elon, man. I mean, we could go on. He's not perfect by any stretch, but as far as who he is and what he does, he is a true first principle thinker.
Absolutely.
Tell you somebody that's not a first principle thinker,
Who's that?
Gavin Newsom's wife.
Jennifer?
Yo, this
Enter
stuff's
Jennifer
crazy.
Newsom.
Crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Crazy. First off, diapers. Okay. I'm a I'm a father. You're a father.
Yep.
Drastically different times between the time where you needed diapers and I do, but the fact of the matter is, every one of us are buying diapers. I told people, especially for the second one, we don't need anything at the baby shower. Get us diapers. I want to take a truck full diapers home. That's it, right? Most expensive thing, most consistent thing. Long story short, I guess Mrs. Jennifer Newsom, she got into the diaper business, and from what I heard, she's 5 times, 5x more expensive than Costco.
How does one stay in business with that
It's
kind of
called
number?
it's called government. There's a famous movie out there called Independence Day, 1996. And it always brings me back to when they get to Area 51 and they're like, "How do you pay for all this?" He's like, "What? You don't think we spend 12 grand on a hammer, 15 grand on a toilet seat, do you?"
Toilet seat.
I'm like, not 15 grand. I'd say maybe 10 grand, because, that's the way it is. Like, I got numerous friends in the
I've
military.
seen that toilet seat, and it is a very comfortable toilet seat. But please continue.
I've seen the paperwork, man. It's crazy. But the crazy part about this is the DOJ is investigating the Newsoms for for the scheme. So get this, right? So the Newsom orbit is supposed to be the polished, progressive California model for the country, right? So when controversy lands on Newsom's wife, it hits the whole carefully curated image. This story isn't just whatever the specific allegation is, it's that the self styled moral referees keep getting caught breaking their own rules.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
For
For
years,
years.
this crowd, has lectured everyone else about believing women, accountability, systemic abuse.
Mhm.
But when accusations or messy stories get close to their own circle, suddenly it's nuance, context, and right wing smears. The standard instantly flips every single time.
Oh, facts, man. That's why conservatives seize on it. It's not to randomly attack a spouse. That's oftentimes below the belt, but it is to point out the pattern, right? One standard for you, another for them,
Yeah.
right? It turns Governor Hairgel and the whole California brand from aspirational end punchline.
Yeah.
The people who want to run America can't even live up to the codes they write for everyone else.
Yeah, man.
I don't know, man. It's crazy. She nearly funded herself $4 million, right, from her nonprofit funded by Newsom's donors.
Wow.
But her nonprofit, it's the Representation Project.
Yeah, well,
It's
we know
funded.
who funds that. We know where that money comes from.
Oh, straight from political donors, man.
Yeah,
She took
all
a
of that all of yeah.
oh, yeah, she took a $1.8 million salary for this. You believe that?
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
I don't know. She also sent more, I think it was like over 2 million to her production company, Girls Club Entertainment. But anyway, that's
From the
all
supposed nonprofit.
correct, correct, correct.
I'm pretty sure the rest of us refer to this, or excuse me, the DOJ at least, they have a word for this, and it's money laundering.
Ding, ding, ding.
Wow. Anybody else would be in prison already.
No, for sure, man. Speaking of prison, this UFC stuff, man. The
Man,
FBI foiling this attack attempt. Like you're locked in with a bunch of guys up there where you are. Yes, I shouldn't say too much, but yeah, talk to me about this, man. Give me some insight. Like what's going on with this?
we had a whole bunch of stuff happen, this week. Give me 1 second here. Let
Let's
me
see. I know, like, we had the UFC Freedom 250 event at the White House. You know, showed how mainstream patriotic the masculine culture has become. And the fact that extremists allegedly targeted it proves exactly why people feel that America itself is under attack. How
absolutely.
many was it? How many suspects was it?
Oh, it's a good handful. I can
Hmm,
tell you that
it was like five.
It was more than that, it was like 10, but the part that really, stood out to me, and I'll say this, I've seen a lot of mistakes, over the last 22 years in government. I've seen
Mhm.
operational failures, communication breakdowns, jurisdictional disputes, and more than a few, preventable disasters. Publicly discussing sensitive details of an active investigation before all the enforcement actions are complete, that's the kind of thing that literally puts agents, officers, informants, and the entire operation at risk. This past week, FBI Director Kash Patel, he quite literally blindsided the U.S. Secret Service when he went out and he quite literally very publicly disclosed the details of
Yeah.
a sealed, ongoing federal investigation. Literally, there were 10 arrests that had not yet been executed. When he decided he was gonna spill the beans on this, there were warrants in hand for 10 people that had not yet been executed, and they had to very quickly, bust ass to go find those people. Oh,
That is
it's just
insane, man.
it is, it's insane.
I don't know, I heard the plot reportedly involved people marinating in conspiracy theories, anti-government rhetoric, and grievances about
Yeah,
corruption and Epstein files, fueling the right-wing argument, that online radicalization and fringe echo chambers are turning internet rage into real-world plots. It's crazy.
absolutely.
I
Yeah,
don't know,
man.
man. The bigger fallout narrative, though, like, while the left obsesses over whether hosting cage fights at the White House is presidential, the right points out that under Trump, the event went off safely. That is for certain. The attack was stopped, and America still got a celebration of strength, patriotism,
Absolutely,
and free people refusing to live in fear.
absolutely.
I mean, did you
I'm
see
I'm
how many
sorry,
people were
you
there?
you can't tell me that the Thunderbirds and the Blue Angels doing that flyover was not one of the coolest things you've ever seen.
That
Like,
was
that
some of
just
the
gave me goosebumps, man. It was
oh, for
awesome.
sure. I mean, the photo, I'm sure you've seen the photo. Like, I do want I wanna get that printed. I wanna find that in raw
Absolutely.
format.
Yeah,
That was a fantastic photo. So, whether it
without a doubt.
was, touched up or not, but that was fantastic. I tell you,
Absolutely,
man.
absolutely.
Hey, so, talk to me about this new Air Force One. I haven't kept up too much with it. I know that, it's been, what,
Okay.
40, 50 years that
Oh,
we've been
yeah,
in
since
this
Kennedy.
current.
Yep. Since Kennedy
Yeah.
was in office. So, this week, the Trump administration officials officially bid farewell to long-serving Boeing 747
Mhm.
Bravo jet used as Air Force One. It's on its final flight from France back to the United States as of June 18th. The White House Communications Director Steve called it a good and faithful servant on its last ride. Ambassador Monica Crowley described the nearly 40-year-old plane as cozy and honored to fly on it with President Trump. The Deputy Chief of Staff, Dan, thanked it after more than 5 years of global travel. Three new Boeing 747-8 aircraft under the VC Bravo program are in preparation. They are very much behind schedule. They should have been ready, I think, last year, but it's been pushed back to, I think, mid. Um, we've got this luxury jet that was, yeah, there we go. Luxury jet that was donated by Qatar, and it will serve as a temporary Air Force One this summer after some modifications. It will help reduce strain on the aging fleet until the first upgraded BC-25 Bravo arrives, like I said, mid 2028.
I think that's
Yeah,
great.
I like it. I think the new paint scheme is awesome.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm honestly surprised there's no gold in it. Oh,
Oh, right.
I see the
You
gold
got a
strip.
little, yeah, you got a little strip there.
That's what she said.
47th president of the
For sure. I love it, man. I wanna see the inside. Oh, did you see this? This is fantastic.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
And YMCA in the background here. Yeah, his signature's something else. Love that signature.
Absolutely.
Uh, well,
Yeah, man, so
man,
yeah,
that's
big difference from, the current model looks something, I mean, yeah, it's gonna be a big difference seeing it in the sky.
that's awesome. Uh, shoot. See, what else we got? Oh, yeah. It's
Oh,
the other one right here, the old Supreme Court ruling on gun ownership and Mary Jane. I'm not a singer.
Me either.
Yeah, what's going on with this one, man?
All right, so I want to say it was either today or maybe yesterday, and it was a unanimous decision. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled in favor of a Texas man who challenged a federal law that prohibited certain marijuana users from possessing firearms. The ruling is already generating a significant debate across the country, especially as more states continue to legalize marijuana, while federal law still classifies it as an illegal controlled substance. For years, individuals who used marijuana, even legally under their own state law, could face restrictions when purchasing or possessing firearms under federal regulations.
Mm.
This case highlights the growing conflict between state legalization efforts and existing federal law. Whether you support the decision or oppose it, the ruling is likely to have very far reaching implications for Second Amendment rights, federal firearm regulations, the future legal challenges involving, cannabis users in general. And as always, I encourage everyone to read beyond the headlines and review the actual court opinion before forming your own opinion because the
Mhm.
details definitely matter. But I don't know. What do you think? Should people that take marijuana sleep gummies should they be allowed to own firearms?
Yes. In one word, yes.
Absolutely.
So I will say this. I live in Florida, right? So it is medically legal here. All else you need is $200 to give to one of the doctors to write you the script, more or less. And I'm sure folks in the comments will tell me I'm wrong or can give the exact, how it works. But long story short is we also have no need for a concealed permit in the state of Florida anymore, right? So that's one thing that we'll be able to skate around certain laws. My concern would be, say I get a cannabis card, I get in trouble for whatever reason, you know, where are we at with the law? Because federally, I guess it's illegal, but then when you bring anything Second Amendment or gun wise, you're looking at felonies, you're looking at all types of different stuff because of the way that the drug laws are. But at the same time, marijuana is no longer a class one,
Absolutely.
it's now like a level 3 or whatever it is. So, a lot of gray area with this. Um, I also too this is where a bit of, the libertarian comes out in me, but man, I am all about limited government, right? I want people to,
Absolutely.
it doesn't need to be the Wild West. We do need government for certain things. Don't get me wrong. There are, there are definitely benefits to having government, right? Mm. But long story short is don't dabble in my day to day, my personal decisions or what I want to do. In my personal opinion, getting blackout drunk is way worse than smoking a blunt, right?
Absolutely.
Some people may disagree. Some people may have their own personal opinions from their own experiences. The fact of the matter is, we're all adults. You got to be 21 already to own a pistol, right? So, to purchase it at minimum. So, make your rules around marijuana, but make it like alcohol. If you get in trouble and there's alcohol involved openly while using a firearm, you're in trouble for multiple reasons. Okay, make it the same for marijuana, but the fact of the matter is, don't limit me for being on a list. Say I get a card, right? Is that going to affect me when I go to renew my concealed permit? For example. Now granted here in Florida, you don't necessarily need it, but I travel out of state, man. I travel out of state all the time. And any concealed carry state that I can legally carry, I'm flying my concealed carry with me, right? So it has its effect. So I guess bottom line is be an adult, make your own decisions, but I am an advocate for it. If it anything else, is the tax ramifications, man. Think of the billions of dollars a year illegally leaving the country because crap's illegal in your state,
Absolutely.
you know? So if it has to be taxed, and then we could go into another thing. Well, we don't want the medical industry to become, you know, like big tobacco, where you've got, a handful of companies running the game. My opinion on that is also like beer, right? You have Anheuser-Busch, you have Miller, you have Coors, right? You have all these big boy names in the business, but you also have stuff like my absolute favorite beer, which is from Tampa Bay Brewery. It's a boutique beer, it's a smaller beer, it's a craft beer, right? You're going to have the same thing with medical marijuana. I'm sorry, with recreational pot.
And we could do a whole show just on that.
Really good, really good. Anyway, I could
We
go
might.
on and on and on, but that's my opinion
No,
on
no, no. But all right,
so
man.
what about
I
you?
think it's been an interesting week. Lots of stuff happened this
Yeah.
week, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more stuff between now and the next time. Remember, don't believe everything you hear on the internet, including us. Stay safe, stay informed. Try not to end up as part of next week's headline.
If you do,
You
we
know,
will talk about you. So,
absolutely. We'll see you next time, assuming we haven't been canceled.
hey, where can
Um,
they find you online?
you can find me online anywhere at the President and CEO or
That's right.
Facebook.com/R Brian Butler.
Very nice, very nice. No, you can just Google me. You'll find me at Chris Waters Redline Briefing on Instagram, and that's about it because I don't like being on a lot of social media. So
Yeah.
you can find me on TikTok, of course, too. Uh, you have to look hard though. No, I'm just kidding. It's at Chris Waters. It's easy enough to find there. So thanks for
All
everybody that
right,
was
guys.
joining in on the live feed tonight, and yeah, we'll see you on the next one.
Appreciate it, guys.